Testing. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 79. Don't judge rich, powerful men and beautiful women. The reason for this video is, let me make sure this microphone's working. Is this? So it seems like whenever we descend to political discourse, we're always judging people based upon their the failures in their life, their fallen nature, how they serve their own lower appetites, and we're looking for these saints on heaven to become our political leaders. I think that kind of distracts politics and messes everything up. Rich, powerful men, if you think about it, by the way, and you know who I'm talking about. Tall, rich, powerful men. What three characteristics do women find attractive in men? The three characteristics are this: tall, rich, and powerful. That's what they find attractive. Their lower appetites tell them it makes them good providers, it makes them willing to fight for them, it makes them a healthy specimen. And so when somebody's tall, rich, and powerful, the amount of temptation they have coming at them, like constantly at all points in time, must be unbearable. And in fact, nobody like myself or all these other people that judge our president could ever imagine the amount of temptation that's coming at him 24/7. And I don't even just want to say it's about our president, but remember former Bill Clinton. He had all sorts of crazy temptation that none of us could have ever imagined. Being tall, I don't even want to say he was good looking. No, he's actually a reasonably good looking guy, but he was rich and powerful, and he's a nice tall guy, 6'3". The amount of temptation coming at him all points in time must have been overpowering to somebody with a fallen nature in accordance to what his fallen nature was, as well as our president as well. Now, same thing with beautiful women. Like beautiful women, truly beautiful women. They have all sorts of people coming at them at all points in time and serving them just because of their own beauty. I think St. Teresa of Avila called it the curse of beauty, that because she was quite beautiful, and all these people are always coming at you, always tempting you, your lower appetites and all your fallen nature, constantly doing it. So how strong are we? How powerful are we? How able are we to resist temptation at all points in time? Well, those of us who are not tall, rich, and powerful, it's a lot easier for us to say no to the fallen nature of the world because we don't have nearly as much temptation. And women out there who are not overtly gorgeous or quite beautiful, you have a lot less temptation than truly beautiful women as well. So when we look at our political leaders, the ones that tend to always have a fallen nature, and then we place ourselves outside of them and we actually judge them and kind of make assumptions about them. And, oh, by the way, they're not good enough to be president, or they're not good enough to be this political leader, that political leader, just because of the fact that they've exercised sin in their lives. Well, I would say woe to you and stop judging people, because you don't know the level of temptation these people have. And in fact, you doing that actually is quite hubristic, and it also it judges you, and it makes you judgmental in some ways to think that you could do better if you were in that position. And I don't know, I would actually have to question that, because powerful people attract all sorts of temptation that other people don't have to deal with day in and day out. I mean, I think it's a real great honor being Catholic Dad, where I don't have people coming at me all the time. I'm kind of secured by my family. I don't have, everybody in this town knows I have like my 9th kid on the way. Nobody ever presents themselves to me in that way, and I don't have to deal with it. And that's a really great gift, and that's a great benefit of having family close to you, and great benefit of clinging to your family, because you block out the rest of the world and all the evils of the world. The other thing about this is that I think when we judge people in our political arenas based upon their fallen nature, what we do is what it does is it disparages candidates that are actually the most capable of achieving what we want to be achieved politically. And I'll give you some examples. And so I've often made this analogy. Let's just say you're at the end of your driveway and you get a call and it says, I'm holding your family hostage. They're in your house, and I'm going to start dispatching of them one at a time if you do not meet my demands. And I'm going to start dispatching of them within 20 minutes. And by the way, what happens is the SWAT team shows up at the exact same time, and there's 2 SWAT teams. There's one SWAT team that's like polite, good-looking, well-mannered, not particularly aggressive, always knows how to say the right thing. And I would call this a SWAT team like a Mitt Romney or a Rubio, or people that are always saying the right thing and are always just really good politicians. And then there's another SWAT team, all tattooed up, smoking cigarettes, maybe even drinking too much, swearing like sailors, and they go out and they philander a whole bunch. But at the end of the day, when you look at these guys, and the well-mannered SWAT team says something like this, they say, oh, we think we could probably get the job done. We do have the resources for it. And oh, by the way, we've done this a couple times and we've only lost a couple hostages. Or the tattooed up, drunken, philandering SWAT team that says, listen, I've been in this business for about 20 years. I've never lost a hostage, and I kill everybody that's holding everybody hostage, and I do it without any qualms. And I'll do it today. Do you want me or do you want the other guys? Now you have to choose, right? You have to choose which SWAT team you want for the preservation of your family. I think if you were a prudential leader of your family, you would choose the one that swears and has tattoos and is ill-mannered and kind of would offend you in almost everyday life. And the reason why is because you want the SWAT team that could get the damn job done. Same thing about political leaders, by the way. I don't know what people want in their political leaders. I don't know if they want like well-mannered, happy Eastern European produced leaders. And when I say that, Mitt Romney's the perfect example. He's 6'5", he's good looking, he's well spoken, and he always says the appropriate thing and never offends anybody. If the East Germans were to invent a politician, his name would be Mitt Romney. And it seems like all the superficial thinkers within the Republican Party fall for people like this. They love their Rubios and they love their Mitt Romneys. They're like as beautiful as a volleyball, but they're just the same. They have no substance inside. They're just full of air, and they're the good-looking SWAT team. They're not able to go in and kick some ass. But, you think about the SWAT team with the tattoos. This is our current president. I don't know what kind of president you want, but I want some really tough dude that will go in and unapologetically get the damn job done, much like rescuing your kids from a house with hostages, where they're hostages. Same thing. I don't really care what he does in his private life. I don't particularly care how his fallen nature falls down, and he's not able to get, where he's not able to resist temptation 100% of the time, because you know what? I'm not in his position. I'm not in any of their positions. I don't have the same temptations they have. In fact, I have virtually no temptation compared to these people. And therefore, I'm not in a position to judge them. What I want is somebody who lays out their principles, says what he's going to do it, and he does it in a way where he's effective. Yeah, I can't think of anybody better than the current president. That's what I can't think of. So anyway, just think about that. And here's the other deal, by the way. If you get confused or sidetracked by the fallen nature of politicians, and you actually decide which ones you want and which ones you don't, you are now being able to be manipulated by the powers that be, the establishment, the deep state or the swamp, whatever you want to call it. Because all they have to do is dredge up some stories about your politician that you thought you liked, and suddenly you wouldn't like him anymore. And some of these stories are fallacious at best. I mean, look at the Kavanaugh hearings in the Supreme Court, and then look at all these other hearings, like girls from high school, coming out and saying he wasn't polite to me, or he kissed me on the cheek, or this and or that. Like, these stories mean nothing. They're kind of garbage stories. But the people they do manipulate are the ones that want their politicians to be saints on this planet. And that is something you really should be careful of. That if you're that judgmental about politicians, then you're the one that's able to be manipulated. If you're not able to be that introspective, realizing that you might not have as much innate ability to resist sin as they do, because you don't have the temptation that they have. So anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Don't judge rich, powerful men the same way you would judge everybody else. Don't judge beautiful women the same way. They have temptations we've never heard of. Their fallen natures are laid out in the open for everybody to see. And by the way, if you are the one that actually decides upon your politicians based upon their fallen nature, well, then you're the one that's right for manipulation by the New World Order, by the deep state, by the people that want to manipulate people. So, which means you're not particularly objective. And oh, by the way, what kind of politician do you want? Do you want somebody who's kind of hard knock, rough and tumble, and able to get the job done? Or do you want somebody who's polite and you might want to have over for dinner? Well, sorry, I'd rather somebody that can get the job done. This is Catholic Dad. Please like or subscribe, pray the Daily Rosary, and get the confession if you can. Thank you, and God bless you all.